Before Sword Art Online became a prison, it was the game everyone was excited for. For Asuna, gaming had never really been an interest. She was more focused on school and always seemed to have her life planned out. Then she met Mito. Unlike Asuna, Mito had been gaming for years and was already pretty comfortable in virtual worlds. As the two grew closer at school, Mito introduced her to the game everyone was talking about, Sword Art Online. So, on launch day, she and Mito logged in together, excited to see what all the hype was about. Neither of them knew they were about to become trapped inside the game. At first, everything seemed normal. The two spent some time exploring the town of beginnings before heading out into the fields surrounding the city. Mito taught Asuna the basics of combat, and despite having almost no gaming experience, Asuna turned out to be a pretty quick learner. Over the next few hours, they hunted monsters, gained a few levels, and slowly got more comfortable with the game. Then, everything changed. Eventually, Asuna decided it was time to log off for the day. But when she opened up the menu, something was wrong. The logout button was gone. Before anyone could figure out what was going on, and every player was suddenly teleported back to the town of beginnings. Thousands of confused players filled the streets as a giant, cloaked figure appeared in the sky above them. The man introduced himself as Akihiko Kayaba, the creator of Sword Art Online. That's when he told them the missing logout button wasn't a bug. According to Kayaba, the only way to escape was to beat the game by clearing all 100 floors. And if a player died in the game, they would die in real life. Just like that, what had started as a fun new VR game became a fight for survival. The moment players heard that, chaos broke out. For Asuna, it felt like a death sentence. She had never been much of a gamer, and now the only way to escape was to beat a game she just started playing. But Mito reassured her that everything would be okay. She promised that she'd protect her and help her get stronger. And unlike most of the players trapped inside the game, Mito had a huge advantage. She was actually one of the game's beta testers, so while Asuna had no idea what to do next, Mito already had a plan. Over the next few days, the two spent most of their time grinding levels and trying to get stronger. And for a while, things actually seemed to be going pretty well. Asuna was improving fast, and with every level she gained, she started feeling more confident. But it didn't take long to realize how dangerous Sword Art Online really was. As they traveled through the game, they witnessed players being killed by monsters right in front of them, and knowing there was nothing they could do to save them made it worse. For Asuna, it was a constant reminder that this wasn't just a game anymore. During one of their training sessions, Mito spotted a rare monster nearby and went after it, leaving Asuna on her own for a few minutes. Unfortunately, that decision quickly came back to haunt them. While fighting monsters by herself, Asuna accidentally triggered a trap, and within seconds, monsters began appearing from every direction. Before she knew it, she was completely surrounded. And before we continue, if you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. The moment Mito saw what had happened, she rushed back to help. But there were too many monsters. Every time she got close to Asuna, another wave would force her back. Meanwhile, Asuna was doing everything she could just to stay alive. Surrounded on all sides, she desperately fought back, as her health continued to drop lower and lower. Mito kept trying to reach her, but she was running out of health too. And eventually, she realized she wasn't going to make it to Asuna in time, so she did the only thing she could think of. She ran, leaving Asuna behind. At that point, it seemed like it was over for Asuna. There was no way she was getting out of this on her own. Then, out of nowhere, another player appeared. Before Asuna could even process what was happening, he began cutting through the swarm of monsters. One after another, they fell. Within moments, the monsters that had nearly killed her were gone, and the player standing in front of her was someone named Kirito. After that, Mito was gone. Asuna had no idea whether she was still alive, and after being abandoned when she needed her most, she wasn't sure she even cared. Not long after that, players began preparing for their biggest fight yet, the first floor boss. A strategy meeting was held in the town of beginnings, bringing together players from the first floor. If they could defeat the boss, it would be the first real step toward escaping Aincrad. As the meeting came to an end, Asuna ran into Kirito again. They decided to team up for the boss fight. Before long, the raid against the first floor boss was underway. Dozens of players fought side by side as the boss unleashed attack after attack. The battle was intense, but little by little, the players began gaining ground. Kirito and Asuna were right in the middle of it, helping push the boss closer and closer to defeat. Then, in the middle of the fight, Asuna spotted a familiar face, Mito. After everything that had happened, she couldn't believe she was seeing her again. But there was no time to think about it. Eventually, the players managed to bring the boss down, and everyone was relieved. After the battle, Mito finally approached Asuna. It was the first time the two had spoken since she left her behind. Mito apologized for what happened and asked if they could form a party again. But Asuna had already moved on. Instead, she chose to team up with Kirito. With the first floor cleared, Kirito and Asuna continued exploring Aincrad together. As they made their way through the newly unlocked floors, the two slowly got to know each other while taking on quests and searching for valuable loot. At one point, they decided to hunt for relic coins hidden inside a dungeon beneath a town. What seemed like a simple treasure hunt quickly turned into something much more dangerous. While exploring the dungeon, the two were suddenly attacked by a group of monsters. As they fought their way through the swarm, Asuna accidentally stepped onto a hidden trap. Before she could react, the floor beneath her gave way, and within seconds she was falling into the darkness below, separated from Kirito. Not long after the fall, a low-level mischief monster appeared and stole Asuna's sword before taking off deeper into the dungeon. Unfortunately for Asuna, it wasn't just any sword. It was her best weapon. Determined to get it back, she chased after the creature, fighting her way through countless monsters along the way. But that's when she stumbled across something strange. Among the items she found was a note containing the dungeon's coordinates and a specific date. The date written on the note was today. Curious about the note, Asuna decided to check out the location for herself. She heard voices approaching, and immediately she knew she was in trouble. The people approaching were members of Laughing Coffin, a guild known for murdering other players inside Sword Art Online. Asuna stayed hidden and listened to their conversation. The more she heard, the worse it got. The two guys revealed that they were planning to turn the two strongest guilds in Aincrad against each other. The guilds were already rivals, with both groups competing to become the strongest guild. According to their conversation, a super rare item was expected to drop on the 5th floor. The catch was that only one guild would be able to claim it, and the group planned to use that rivalry to make the two guilds fight. And if nobody stopped them, people were going to die. Just then, another mischief monster appeared. The Laughing Coffin members quickly killed it, and Asuna recognized it as the same monster that had stolen her sword earlier. But before she had time to think about it, someone else arrived. Kirito. Just then, Asuna revealed herself. Before anyone could react, she rushed forward and snatched her sword back. For a moment, it looked like a fight was about to break out. But before either side could make a move, a swarm of monsters suddenly came charging into the area. The Laughing Coffin members were forced to run, giving Kirito and Asuna the chance to escape. Not long after escaping, Kirito and Asuna immediately reported what they'd overheard. They arranged a meeting with one of the rival guilds, hoping to prevent the conflict before it could begin. But the guild leaders refused to listen. The rivalry between the two groups had already gone too far, and neither side was willing to back down. Realizing they couldn't rely on the guilds, Kirito and Asuna decided they would have to stop the plan themselves. To do that, they put together a small strike team to go after the 5th floor boss before either guild could get involved. There was just one person Asuna still needed to ask: Mito. At first, Mito refused. She'd carried the guilt of leaving Asuna behind, and she didn't believe she deserved to fight alongside her again. But Asuna hadn't forgotten everything Mito had done for her. After talking things through, Mito finally agreed to join them. With their party assembled, the group headed for the boss room. The battle was intense, with the boss pushing the entire team to their limits. But by fighting together, they eventually managed to bring it down. And just as the Laughing Coffin members had predicted, the boss dropped the incredibly rare item. Knowing that leaving it behind would only reignite the conflict between the guilds, Kirito and Asuna made a difficult decision. Instead of allowing either guild to claim it, they kept the item themselves, preventing the guilds from fighting. And with that, Mito's story in Sword Art Online comes to an end. Although she survives the death game and eventually escapes Aincrad alongside the other surviving players, Mito is never seen again in the main series. Even so, her impact on Asuna's journey is impossible to ignore. Without Mito, Asuna may never have become the fighter we know today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Sword Art Online content. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.